Welcome back to our war games that we are playing, this post-poll deep dive into what are the likely scenarios, what could happen on the 23rd when, remember, Maharashtra and Jharkhand give us the results, the final big battles of this big election year of 2024. Now, we've done some kind of simulation already for Maharashtra. What we've suggested, possibilities of the Mahayuti getting a majority seem higher at the moment than that of the Mahavikas Aghadi. We are not ruling out the possibility of a hung assembly in Maharashtra, but advantage Mahayuti when you look at the different poll permutations and combinations. Now let's turn, Rahul, to the state of Jharkhand, which, remember, has gone through two phases. The second phase of polling ended today.
So what we'll do in Jharkhand is we'll run three scenarios, and then I'll take you through the C-Voter data for Jharkhand. Remember, I want to clarify once again that this is not an India Today poll. This is a poll done by C-Voter. We'll show you the results of the C-Voter poll. So I'll start with running three simulations on what could happen. So scenario number one is where the BJP gets an absolute majority as part of an enlarged NDA. And remember, this time you've got the All Jharkhand Students Union, which fought separately last time round, fighting alongside the BJP, as is the JDU, the Lok Janshakti Party of Chirag Paswan, if they fight together and cross the magic figure of 41. Remember, the 81 seats in the Jharkhand Assembly. This would suggest that there would be high anti-incumbency against the Hemant Soren government, and the idea of the NDA expanding its alliance would prevent any split in the vote that they were hoping to get. Remember, one of the reasons that the Raghubar Das government got voted out last time was because the anti-BJP vote consolidated and the pro-BJP vote got split, with the AJSU picking away some of what could have been the NDA vote. In this scenario, because they're contesting together, they have a stronger chance of actually being able to cross the finishing line. From here, this would also suggest that factors like infiltration, corruption have worked in favor of the NDA. The BJP has taken these up in a very big way. Ghuspetia, all the charges against Hemant Soren have been made front and center of this BJP campaign. And Champai Soren, the tiger of Kolan, coming into the BJP fold would mean that in this region, where the BJP did quite badly last time round, that his presence has been able to solidify the NDA's chances there. Now, let's... one of the other reasons for this typically could be that MLAs in a state like Jharkhand since 2000 have usually struggled to hold on to their seats. And therefore, there's been a lot of anti-incumbency against sitting MLAs. Congress rebels who have been contesting against the official candidates could potentially damage the party's candidates on more than half a dozen seats. These are some of the reasons why, in scenario one, there could be an absolute majority for the NDA. And if this happens, let's now try and convert this into numbers. So we worked with Amitabh Tiwari, who's with us in the studio on this. This is the 2019 base file, where you've got 30 seats for the NDA, 49 for the India Alliance. Remember, some of these parties fought separately, but to be able to compare, we brought them together under the NDA. Here, if the BJP's vote share goes up by 5%, the India Alliance vote share goes down by 5%, then the NDA is comfortably placed at 51, the India Alliance comes down just to 29, and this would mean game, set and match for the NDA in Jharkhand if this scenario actually comes through. From here, let's now go to the second scenario. This is a scenario where there's some sympathy against in favor of Hemant Soren because he was incarcerated, and this tribal consolidation. So if this happens, you've got a scenario where the JMM, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, the Congress, the Rashtriya Janata Dal, the left together are able to cross that magic figure of 41, which would require a strong tribal consolidation in favor of the JMM. And remember, the BJP is trying very hard to prevent a strong tribal consolidation, but this would be required. This also means that a lot of the schemes that have been introduced by the Hemant Soren government as part of its welfare agenda would have clicked on polling day. And remember, the equivalent of the Ladki Behan Yojana is, even though the allocation is less, as just 1,000 rupees, has been one of the big poll promises that they've executed. It's called the Maiya Yojana, which currently disperses 1,000 rupees to 45 lakh women, could potentially be a game changer. And even in the polling data that I saw from Jharkhand, this was the one scheme that was registering and tracking the highest. We'll spend some time talking about that. The India Alliance has now in fact promised to increase the allocation for this scheme from 1,000 to 2,500. So if this comes through, this would really be one of the big factors propelling the India Alliance to victory. This would also require that there be sympathy for Hemant Soren, who now started looking a bit like his father, Shibu Soren, or a younger version of his father, clicking, and that's an image that has a high recall, especially amongst tribal voters in Santal Paragana, and that works well. He's also promised to waive electricity bills. So this is the second scenario that we model, which is a scenario where the Congress, RJD, JMM are able to buck anti-incumbency, which is tough in a state like Jharkhand, and come back to power. Let's now come to the third scenario. This is a scenario which envisages the potential of a hung assembly, where both the JMM and the BJP are close to 30 seats each. And other constituents of the NDA and the India Alliance are around 20. So nobody hits that 50 mark. Taken together, the others are at 20. So you got nobody at 40 plus. In this case, the tribal vote gets split between the India Alliance and the NDA, and there isn't a clear consolidation in any one favor. The BJP and the JMM emerge as the two key poles, but the others, whether it's the AJSU, the JMM, the Congress, the RJD, they underperform. And therefore, they don't really give that much support to the key pillars in this alliance. You also got a new party like the JLKM amongst the Kurmis attempting to emerge as a King Mehto Mahto's party, and that could do well. If the India Alliance does well in Jharkhand, that would require the All Jharkhand Students Union, which has an emotional connect, particularly with the youth of Jharkhand, which fails to do well for the NDA. They need this batsman to strike and strike hard. The Congress proves weak in the India Alliance if they're not able to cross the 41 figure. Remember last time you had RPN Singh running the Congress's campaign in Jharkhand. This time round, has it been quite as strong? Well, that's something that we'll debate in just a moment. And now if we were to convert this third scenario into numbers, which is basically BJP plus going down by 5%, India Alliance going down by 5%, and others going up by 10%. If this were to happen, then you've got again a complete khichdi scenario where you've got NDA at 23, you've got the India Alliance at 35, others at 23, which would suggest that the India Alliance has arguably the better shot in this kind of a scenario to be able to form the next government.